When two power-driven vessels are crossing, so as the involved risk of collision, the vessel which has the other on her own starboard side shall keep out of the way and shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid cruising ahead of the other vessel. We're going to place ourselves down here on this blue ball carrier sailing on quite happily, and then we see a large container ship right out far on the starboard side, and we need to continue to monitor and determine if risk of collision exists. So after a short while compass bearing hasn't changed, no risk on collision exists. We're the ones that have to keep out of the way, and we've got two options. 1. We could either stop and let her cross ahead of us. 2. Or we can keep going and come round to starboard and pass astern of her. All we need to do is avoid crossing ahead. In this situation, I'm going to make a bow alteration round to starboard, and then we're both going to be able to continue. As you can see, risk of collision is clearly passed, and once it has blue, vessels and then free to alter background to port and continue on her original course, and that. Every vessel which is directed to keep out of the way of another vessel shall, so far as possible, take early and substantial action to keep well clear. Give way vessel should take action well in time. Estimate the speed of approach between the two vessels. Estimate the approximate time interval and then take action.
So in this diagram we've got a tanker travelling along quite happily, and then she sees a container ship out on her port bow. Of course, as always, both vessels have got to continue to monitor until they establish risk of collision exists, and then they've got to work out the situation, which in this case is a crossing situation. So the container ship has to give way to the tanker, make a bold alteration of course round to starboard, and continue on her course, passing well clear. In this case, she has complied with Rule 16, she's taken early action, that action was substantial, and she's kept well clear. If we reset the situation back to the point where they first saw each other, and now they're going to again establish if risk of collision exists, in this case they run on quite a lot further than they did before. Again, it's a crossing situation still, so the container ship is due to keep out of the way, the tanker is the stand-on vessel, but the container ship has now let herself get so close that the tanker is now wondering whether she has to apply Rule 17 and take action as the stand-on vessel. Of course, in this situation the container ship will alter round and they will be able to pass well clear, but crucially she hasn't really complied with Rule 16. The action wasn't early, so she put the tanker in such a situation that she was considering taking action herself. If she'd have taken action in accordance with Rule 16 and acted early, the tanker would never have been in any doubt as to whether the container ship was going to take action or not.
Do not take a late action, since this will make the stand-on vessels apprehensive, and she may then take an action which would be detrimental to both vessels.
The other shall keep her course and speed. The latter vessel may, however, take action to avoid collision by her manoeuvre alone as soon as it becomes apparent to her that the vessel required to keep out of the way is not taking appropriate action in compliance with these rules. So in this example, the yellow ship is the give way vessel and the maroon ship is the stand-on vessel. So the first part of the rule says that the maroon ship should maintain her course and speed. However, if the yellow ship hadn't stopped, then it would be okay for the maroon ship to take avoiding action herself using her own manoeuvring ability so that she avoids that risk of collision. When from any cause the vessel required to keep her course and speed finds herself so close that collision cannot be avoided by the action of the giveway vessel alone, she shall take such action as will best aid to avoid collision. So in this example, the yellow ship has continued during a crossing situation where she's the giveway vessel, and the maroon ship has had to take action to avoid collision. There could be many reasons that the yellow ship hasn't taken avoiding action, and under Rule 2 it may have made a departure from the rules in case of an emergency, there may be another hazard, anything like that. But the point is that the maroon vessel must take avoiding action to best avoid collision. Also, that avoiding action isn't prescribed. It doesn't say whether or not she should slow down or alter course. A power-driven vessel which takes action in a crossing situation in accordance with subparagraph A part 2 of this rule to avoid collision with another power-driven vessel shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, not alter course to port for a vessel on her own port side. The reason for this is, although the yellow ship may not be taking action early enough, if she does take action under the crossing rule, then she's going to make an alteration of course to starboard, and if the maroon ship alters course to port, that's going to end in a collision or a near miss. This rule does not relieve the giveway vessel of her obligation to keep out of the way. What that means is you can't, in a crossing situation, say, I'll stand on, because whatever happens, the maroon vessel must take avoiding action if I do so. That's not the case. You have to obey the collision regulations as they've been written, and in a crossing situation, you give way to power-driven vessels coming from your starboard side.